Hello, entrepreneurs. My name is Bimal Shah. I'm on a mission to make pioneers out of entrepreneurs by helping you achieve your 3 year goal in 1 year that's tied to your 25-year vision and 5 year moonshot. I do it through weekly sprints and 90-day leaps. This is the Pioneers Academy podcast, and I'm on a mission to make a million pioneers. And I thought this podcast channel will help you achieve your 3 year goal and jump to the next level. I'm going to be showing lots of training and lots of great episodes, so join on this podcast and get all the training and resources you need to achieve your 3 year goal in 1 year and make yourself a pioneer. I wrote 13 books, Becoming a Pioneer, and you can get all those 13 books on Amazon. We're going to give away to every listener who listens on this podcast a $100 Amazon gift card so you can get all the books and learn how to become a pioneer.
Welcome to the Pioneers Academy podcast. I'm your host, April, and today we're tackling a topic that hits home for many of us: managing debt effectively. In a world where financial pressure is ever increasing, it's crucial to have the right strategies in place. Joining me is Vimal Shah, the driving force behind this podcast and a financial expert dedicated to helping people navigate their financial challenges. Vimal, it's great to have you back.
Thank you for having me here, April. It's a great pleasure to be here and talk about this very important topic today. Debt is a serious concern for many, including the nation, which is 35 trillions in debt right now. So this hits home to many. Hopefully, this episode will be very valuable, and I'll provide great tools and resources that people can use to manage debt.
Exactly, Bimal. And I'm so much excited for today's topic because I myself can relate to this as well. And so, before we dive into personal debt management, let's talk about the bigger picture. You mentioned about the $35 trillion the US is currently facing in debt, impacting individuals and families alike. Many are overwhelmed by mortgages, credit card debt, and high interest loans. Bimal, how do you think people can start to manage their personal debt, especially in the light of these economic challenges?
So, the first and foremost important concept, many people think, you can borrow money and use that money to make money. It is not always a good idea to, increase your debt and drown yourself in debt and keep on borrowing money as long as unless you have a clear strategy of leveraging that on a guaranteed basis, or how that's going to be leveraged. So I would say, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to build your debt in such a way that we can build a three bucket system. And in this three bucket system, every ordinary person who's listening to this episode can utilize this strategy to manage and start managing their debt very effectively, and understand what debt to take on, when not to take on debt, and when to take on debt, and what type of debt to completely walk away from. And there's a tool that I've created called the debt management system that talks about how to use this, structure this, monitor this, and allocate payments and things like that, so that you can manage your debt very effectively. And we're going to provide the link to that tool as well. And that's the three bucket system that I'm going to dive into more details on this episode.
Absolutely, Bimal. It's essential for people to focus on what they can control. So, the three bucket system sounds like a great way to tackle that systematically. So, and also, people are worried about how to tackle their debt, especially high interest debt. What advice do you have, Bimal, for them?
So let's dive into this three bucket system. That is the perfect advice for them. So the three buckets is very simple and easy to use. You have good debt, bad debt, and ugly debt. So good debt is debt that is usually in a single digit interest. And this is something like you're borrowing for your home or for your business, because when you're borrowing for your home appreciates in value. Or you're buying your car usually comes in, 1 to 5% interest loans. And then, you're able to pay off the car, and the car, if it's completely free and clear, you're able to use it for making money and doing business and doing everything that you do by having a house and a car. And business, you can take the money and multiply it and be able to effectively pay off the debt. So all those types of debt, they fall into the good debt category. Unfortunately, you don't want to get on too much good debt, because then it can turn into an overwhelm and you will be drowning in debt and you will not even be able to handle the good debt that you took. Then comes into the second bucket, which is bad debt. So the bad debt is where you have double digit interest loans, 10% credit cards, things like that. And the rule of thumb is pay off your bad debt every month. Do not carry forward, because anything you carry forward, think about credit cards. It takes your credit cards to practically double in balance in just 2 years, 2.7 years. So if you carry your balances little over 2 years, you more than double your balance, and then your payments double. So never pay. That's why get in the habit of only using your credit card for what you can pay. Your credit card is not your money. You're using someone else's money to buy things, so only spend what you can pay off at the end of the month. That is the number one rule of looking at bad debt. And ugly debt, walk away. Do not even take it. So there are daily debit loans, shark loans, pawn loans. These are loans that they just go into your account and start taking money out. These are the most horrific type of loans, and they can eat you up and make your life miserable. So you want to stay away from that debt completely. And then a rule of thumb is you should have at least 10 to 25% of your net worth in liquid assets, and do not count your house as part of your net worth. Your house is where you live. It is not part of your net worth. So if your net worth, excluding your house, and then multiplied by 25%, if you have that much in liquid assets, liquid meaning assets in money in the bank, cash, things that you can easily convert to cash, those are liquid assets, and those are assets that you want to maintain. And as long as you maintain those type of assets, you don't want to take on more debt than that. So that is the thumb rule, that at any given point in time, you should have 25% liquidity. And if you don't, 10% is the bare minimum, 25% is ideal. Anything over 25% is great. You do not want to take on any debt if you don't have that kind of liquidity. So that is kind of the thumb rule. And in the three bucket system, the tool, you can get that tool at bit.ly, the debt management system. And if you click on the show notes below, we're going to put the links in the show notes. When you click that, you'll be able to access those tools and manage your debt effectively. And one of the things is, even the United States, can use the good debt, bad debt, ugly debt. Their mechanisms of defining the good debt, bad debt, and ugly debt would be different, because they have so many variables and things like that. But they can effectively define and put the debt in these three buckets and start reducing the debt and creating strategies to reduce the debt of the nation, which is pretty close to getting bankruptcy right now. So it is 35 trillion, and that needs to be managed effectively as well.
That makes a lot of sense, Bimal. It's great to know and to understand the types of debt so that it can help people make a better financial decisions and avoid these ugly debt, bad debts. So it also helps reducing the overall burden of our listeners who are experiencing this financial crisis, right? And also, you mentioned the three bucket management system, and we're going to put the link on the show note, right? And so, how can they start applying it to their own financial situations for our listeners, Bimal?
So the very first thing is understanding your habits. A lot of people in the US and worldwide, they think that if they have a credit card, they can go out and live a lavish lifestyle and do whatever they want. Credit card is not your money. It is the bank's money. So never use your credit card as your ATM card. I have seen a lot of people who withdraw cash using their credit card. When you withdraw cash using your credit card, not only you pay that 20-30% interest, you also pay a 3% advance and 30% interest on that advance. So imagine, and this is all compounded, so you're literally more than doubling your balance in a year. And the credit card companies, that's how they rip you apart. So do not use your credit card as your ATM card. Credit card, you need to spend only, so keep limits. So I talk about a lot of these things in a tool called the Essential Money Habits. These are habits that make us wise because our daily habits define us, and daily habits tell us how we manage money. So, for example, if you're in the habit of drinking 4 cups of coffee, Starbucks coffee, a day, you take that $5-6 coffee and you multiply that by four, $25 a day, 365 days a year. That's $8,930. Multiply that by 20 years. All of a sudden, you have given up $1.3 million in your retirement just by you could have stopped drinking that much coffee and you would have 1.3 million in your retirement. Very simple. So these are habits, the habits that you need to be thinking about. What are my habits? And you want to, one of the most effective ways is, keep one personal credit card and one business credit card. You don't need too many credit cards. Okay. And then, use those credit cards and set limits. So if you tend to go over limit, your card would be denied, not because you're so that is an effective way of controlling you, that you don't go overboard in your spending. So if you know that you're, let's say, you have an income of $10,000 a month, and you know that you cannot spend on your credit card more than personal credit card more than 2,000 a month, set a limit on your credit card for 2,000. So you know that you will not go overboard by 2,000. Every bank, every credit card company you call, they can set this. You can do the same for your business. So these are great habits. I just shared with you in the tool. I share, dozens and 20 or more essential money habits that you can build. We're going to put the link in the show notes. It's called the Essential Money Habits, and that you can build that will help you manage your debt. So that is kind of the main course of when somebody's trying to start it. It all starts with your habits associated with money. How do you spend money? And if you overspend it, you over borrow too, because that the same habits go into your smaller habits, turn into bigger habits, and those bigger habits tend to lead to bigger bad decisions that can haunt you forever.
That's such an important point, Bimal. I think many people fall into the trap of treating their credit limit as extra cash when in reality it's a borrowed money that has to be paid back, and often with a high interest. It's easy to lose track of how much you're spending when it doesn't feel like it's coming out of your pocket right away. And I think this reminder will help people be more mindful about their credit card usage. And thank you so much for that. So, also, building strong financial habits lays a solid foundation for long term success. Thank you so much for presenting this fantastic tool. It will give people a clear path forward when they feel overwhelmed by their finances.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is a great tool, and not only is just in terms of essential money habits, but also looking at the bigger picture. So when you look at your bigger picture, I have a scorecard called the essential, the financial scorecard. You can go to the link. We're going to put it in the show notes. It's called bit.ly/, your financial scorecard. So you can score yourself where you are in debt. I know of a person who was so inclined to leverage debt for his business, and he kept on taking debt on equity from one hotel to another hotel and another hotel, and eventually when one hotel tanked, all his hotels had to be foreclosed. So he gave up 9 hotels to pay off one debt. Now imagine this, this kind of a debt addiction This can also turn into an addiction because you feel like you can borrow money. So you can go out and borrow money and say, okay, I can take this money and do another thing. And then I can take this money and do another thing. You want to effectively know the basics and the fundamentals. Do not borrow money when your liquidity is not there. If your liquidity is not there, you have to stop borrowing. And your total debt to equity ratio, your total debt to liquidity ratio should not be more than 125%. So that is the key thing that you have to maintain, and making sure that all of these ratios and the numbers you do not exceed, because this is how banks plan there. Now, the second thing is you don't want, when it's raining, the banks will not give you an umbrella. The banks will give you an umbrella when it's shining, but when it rains, they want to take it away. That means that's how debt works. So when you are in serious need of money, they don't want to give it to you. And then when you don't need the money, they want to give it to you. So you feel like, okay, I'm able to get the money, so I should get it right now because I won't get it. There are certain principles that you have to follow, which is why the financial scorecard tool will help you. What principles, what structure, what scores, what ratios, what numbers I need to follow through. So to make sure that I don't overborrow, I don't take on too much debt, and I don't take on the debt that I should never look at, like the ugly debt, which runs at 35% interest or more, 50% daily debit loans. Absolutely stay away. Those are not needed. But those kinds of institutions, they make a killing. They are billion-dollar industries who run, or more, who run on these daily debit loans. But they kill the common man because the common man doesn't understand it, including payday advance loans. Somebody who doesn't want to have a bank account, they take their paycheck, they give their paycheck to someone, and they're taking away 20, 30%, or percentage of what they collect on paycheck just to get the money sooner. But if they had gone to the bank, they would have gotten the full percentage, of their money without having to pay any fees. So that is these are all things that are very important, that when you consider debt. And these are things on the scorecard that I'm going to share in the show notes below, and so you can get that link and the scorecard and the tools.
That's a helpful tool, Bimal, I believe. This will help our listeners to assess of their debt and overall financial system. If they do have this visibility into your financial health, that can really guide people in making informed decisions. So now, here's a question. I know many listeners are interested. Can people get grants or free money to help pay off their debt?
There are grants available. For example, if you're a self-employed, contractor, there's still a grant available of $32,000, up to $32,000. You can apply at bit.ly SETC. We're going to put the link in the show notes, or the grants now. So you go in there, just ask a few questions. We'll then send you complete detail email on what type of grant, how much, when, what you can get. And that's money that you can pay off. And if you're getting grants that you can pay off, some of the other debt, absolutely take it, because you want to get rid of debt as quickly as possible. Because it's just like climbing your way out of a hole, and the hole keeps getting deeper and slippery. So it's like you think you're climbing up out of the hole, but you may be sinking right into it. So absolutely take advantage of it. And there's still some other grants available. If you had a business and you collected MasterCard, Visa, we had done a podcast episode earlier on the MasterCard Visa lawsuit, that settlement that was for $5.4 billion. So if you had a business and you collected credit card, charges from your client, so you collect, clients paid you by credit card, you're able to claim a percentage of the fees that were charged you by the merchant as a settlement at no cost, and we're processing that at no cost to you. Just, we make money when you make money. So that's how it is, including the SCTC. You click on it, you follow through the process. When we finally assess, what amount you're going to get, that's when you get it, that's when you pay. So it's a great advantage to you to get those grants and pay off. These are some of the grants that you can get to pay off the debt. Absolutely.
Wow, that's great to know, Bimal. I'm sure many listeners will be excited to hear that there are grants available to help with that or financial challenges because grants can be such a game changer because they don't need to be repaid unlike loans.
Yeah.
So also, what would be the next step for our listeners who are ready to take control of their finances and start tackling their debt? Let's just highlight this for our listeners out there.
So the best next step is to do the financial scorecard. The financial scorecard, we're going to put a link or bit.ly your financial scorecard. So click that link in the show notes. And if you're listening to that, it's bit.ly / your financial scorecard with Y capital, F capital, and S capital. And then when you go to that link, it will it will help you build your big picture financial as to where you are, what you need to do, and the next steps you need to take. So that's the best next step that you can take. And once you do that, then there are some other tools that we're going to put in the show notes. If you already know that, certain debt that you want to pay off, you can go right into the debt management system and start using that and start paying off your debt because it helps you structure the payments and the plan to pay off your debt very easily. And don't get into the trap of the 0% interest credit card because you get into that trap, you take money again, and then you're not able to pay off, and all of a sudden it jumps to 30%. So, um, you know, always get into the habit of paying off your credit cards every month and do not spend more than what you can make. Very simple. These are principles that even Warren Buffett lives by in running his billion-dollar company, and so should you. So those are some of the next steps, and I've written some great books as well that talk about the debt management and other systems and cash flow systems and three bucket cash flow. So we're going to put $100 Amazon gift card in the show notes below as well, so you can access the books. And I'm launching my 11th book in the Becoming a Pioneer series very soon. So it should be coming out hopefully next week. And you should be able to access that with the gift card. So utilize the books and the other tools and other resources that you can access.
I agree, Bimal. As they say, as that we should live within our means, right? And also, it's a great starting point while taking the scorecard. But it seems like a simple yet powerful way for people to understand where they are financially. It's one thing to feel overwhelmed by debt, and also, having a clear, structured assessment helps break it down into a manageable steps. So, I'm sure our listeners will appreciate how actionable and straightforward this next step is. Thank you so much for that, Bimal.
Thank
And
you very
also, you've
much.
authored several books that provide valuable insights into financial management, right? And also, we're going to um I believe that it's already launched, the new book. So, can you share what some of those books focus on and how our listeners can get their hands on them?
Yeah, absolutely. See right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a book series that you can see, month by month guide to doubling your business and making yourself the only one in your industry. Each book focuses on a different aspect, which is lined in sequence to help you achieve your 3-year goal in 1 year, double your business, and make you the only one in your industry and build a system that is structured for exponential growth. So get these books in the series. They talk about all the different concepts, and each one comes with specific tools, resources, training video, and all the resources. And most important, we're giving away $100 Amazon gift card. So you can get all the books with the gift card, with the $100 Amazon gift card. So use those books and make yourself a pioneer.
That's all what we have for today. But this has been an enlightening discussion, Bimal. Thank you so much for sharing all these insights with us. For our listeners, don't forget to check out the show notes for links to the resources we've discussed. Thank you so much once again, Bimal, and see you on the next one.
Thank you, April. Thank you for having me here. Hello, pioneers and entrepreneurs. My name is Bimal Shah. I'm on a mission to make pioneers out of entrepreneurs by helping you achieve your 3-year goal in 1 year that is tied to your 25-year vision and 5-year moonshot. I do it through 90-day leaps and weekly sprints and through my own proprietary 4-leap system. I've also written 13 books, the Becoming a Pioneer series. I've founded the Pioneers Academy, the Pioneers platform, and several resources that help you on several different platforms, the Thrive platform, Transform platform, and Transcend platform. So these are resources and tools that I built for you to double your business in a year and scale exponentially and become the only one in your business.